Hello everyone, it's Nathan here. Welcome back to the Learn English podcast channel. Today we're talking about a very important topic, how to start learning English for beginners. To help us answer these questions, I have invited a very special guest, Miss Jessica. Thank you, Nathan. Hi everyone, I'm Jessica. I run the YouTube channel Learn English with Jessica. It's a great honor to be here. Jessica, what do you think about learning English? Learning English can be fun and exciting. It's like opening a door to the world. It helps us meet new people and learn new things. But it's also challenging. Absolutely, Jessica. So, where should our beginners start? Now, if you just started, it's okay to feel a little scared. But don't worry, we're here to help. So, Jessica, could you share your first tip for our beginners learning English? Sure, Nathan. My first tip is speak English whenever you can, wherever you can. That sounds simple enough. How can beginners practice this? Start with simple greetings. Say hello or how are you to friends or even to yourself in the mirror. Speaking to yourself, that's an interesting idea. Yes, will help build confidence and use English in your daily tasks, like doing GTD, the getting things done methods. So put English into everyday life is key. Exactly. And don't worry about making mistakes. It's all part of the learning process. I guess fear of making mistakes stops a lot of people. It does, but remember every mistake is an opportunity to learn. Great advice, Jessica. So, speaking English as much as possible in the first step. Yes, and trying to find a speaking partner or join an English speaking group online. That's a great idea. It can make learning more interactive and fun. Exactly. And listening to English music or watching movies can also improve your speaking skills. So immerse yourself in the language as much as you can. Absolutely. The more you surround yourself with English, the faster you'll learn. Thank you for sharing, Jessica. This tip is definitely a game changer for beginners. My pleasure, Nathan. I'm happy to help. Moving on, Jessica, what's the second tip you have for us? The second tip is to learn a new words every day. It's a simple yet powerful way to build your vocabulary. That sounds like a slowly strategy, but how can beginners effectively learn new words? One way is to use flashcards. Write the new word on one side and its meaning on the other. Flashcards, got it. And reviewing them regularly would help, I assume. Exactly. Another tip is to read as much as possible. Reading helps you encounter new words in context. Reading like books, articles, or anything specific, anything that interests you. It could be books, online articles, or even social media posts. So keeping it varied and interesting. That's a great approach. Yes, and try to use the new words in sentences. This will help you remember them better. Using them in sentences, right? Like it's like making those words truly yours. Absolutely. And don't hesitate to ask for meanings of words you don't understand. Asking questions is part of the learning process then. It is. Curiosity will lead you to learn more and faster. Jessica, this tip is incredibly helpful. Learning new words daily can really expand one's vocabulary. Yes, and it's exciting to see progress as your vocabulary grows. Thanks for sharing this tip, Jessica. I'm sure our listeners will find it very useful. Let's go to the third tip, shall we? The third tip is immersion. You must immerse yourself in English as much as possible. Immerse. Could you explain a bit more about what that means? Certainly, immersion means surrounding yourself with English. Listen, speak, read, and think in English. That sounds like a comprehensive approach. How can beginners start immersing themselves? Start by changing the language settings on your phone or computer to English. It's a simple step but very effective. Interesting. And I suppose watching English movies or TV shows helps too. Absolutely. Watching media in English helps you get used to the rhyme and sounds of the language. And I guess trying to think in English is part of this immersion process. Yes, thinking in English forces your brain to work in the language, which accelerates your learning. It's like living in an English speaking environment without having to travel. Exactly, and try to interact with native speakers online or find language exchange partners. Interaction with native speakers can really boost confidence and skills. Yes, and it provides real-life practice which is invaluable for learning. This tip is really emphasizes the importance of active engagement with the language. Absolutely, immersion is key to mastering English. The more you immerse, the quicker you learn. Thanks for sharing such an essential tip, Jessica. Our listeners will surely benefit from it. It's my pleasure, Nathan. Remember, consistency and immersion are your best friends on this journey. We covered a lot of ground today, Jessica. What a final tip you have for our audience. The last tip is to spend time with people who speak English. This is vital for practicing and improving your language skills. That makes a lot of sense. But what if our listeners don't know any English speakers around them? There are many online communities and language exchange sites where you can meet English speakers. So, leveraging the internet to find speaking partners. Great advice. Yes, and don't forget about local meetups or English speaking clubs. They can be great places to practice. Finding clubs sound like a fun way to learn. Plus, you get to meet new people. Exactly. It's about creating a support environment where you can freely practice speaking English. And I imagine it boosts confidence too, as you use English in real life situations. Absolutely. Confidence grows with practice, and before you know it, speaking English becomes second nature. This has been incredibly informative, Jessica. Spending time with English speakers is key to learning the language. Yes, Nathan. I hope your listeners find this tip helpful on their journey to become fluent in English. Thank you for sharing your expertise, Jessica. Our listeners really have a lot to take away from today's podcast. It was my pleasure, Nathan. Thank you for having me. And to everyone listening, keep practicing and don't give up. Vocabulary, immersion. The action of immersing someone or something in a liquid. In language learning, it often refers to a method of teaching a foreign language by the exclusive use of that language. Example, she improved her Spanish by moving to Spain of total immersion in the language and culture. Flashcards. Cards bearing information such as vocabulary words on either of both sides used in classroom drills or in private study. They are a popular method for learning and memorizing facts. Example, he used flashcards to memorize the periodic table for his chemistry class. Strategy. A plan of action designed